Hey everyone, back tuning into today's second video. We're doing the August look ahead today. Going to have a look at the Beijing Climate Centre and CFS V2 models to see what could be around the corner for the month that we're just starting. We'll also have a review on July. It's been a very interesting July, and we'll have a quick sneak peek at the end for September as well. So quite an extended video, this one. Say about the first video this morning, it was Can Sip Sunday, so you can find the link to that on the homepage. You can find the video there on the homepage, and you'll be able to see what the Can Sips model, it's from Canada, would you believe, is showing for the coming 6 months. I'm not sure whether there's anything in that model. It's new to me, so we're just observing it really and checking as we go along to see whether it's particularly reliable. But we're looking at the next 6 months anyway on Can Sip Sunday on the homepage. This video will be dealing with the coming month. So before I get on with that, just to quickly say about the ads, there's links to articles on all the pages at gadgets.com. Have a browse through widgets. Any articles that you're interested in, click through. You have to go and read the article. Thanks so much for doing that. And there's video ads on most pages. They open out within the content, then they'll close back up again. And once you have watched a video, you'll be helping to pay for the website. Thanks so much for doing that. So very quick start off with July. As I say, it's been an interesting July. We have the central temperature in now from Hadley for July. We're coming out at 15.9. Nothing particularly remarkable about that. It's around 0.2 of a degree cooler than the 61 to 90 average. If you compare it to a more modern average, I have to explain this because it's rather complicated what they're doing at the UK Met Office. They are still using the 61 to 1990 average, which is an old and a cold average. It encompasses the cold decade of the 1960s. So they're still using that. They should really be using a more modern average, such as 81 to 2010. Set against 81 to 2010, this has been a significantly cooler than average month. It's around 0.7 of a degree, getting on for a degree cooler than average. And that's despite that really hot opening. But even if you set it against 61 to 90, as the UK Met Office are doing, it still comes out a little bit cooler than average. So we can see just how this month has played out. This is a lovely chart from the weatheroutlook.com forum. I spotted this from the weatheroutlook.com. This is from the user Global Warming. And you can see on a daily basis how the central temperature has been declining. So we start off with this green bar up here on the first day, exceptionally warm. And you can see after that, really it's just downhill all the way. And particularly in the final week or so, when it turned very, very cool indeed. I think we had the coolest last week to July since around 1920, something like that. So yeah, real cool end to the month. And once you average it all out, actually it comes out a little bit cooler than 61 to 90, and more of an anomaly set against say 81 to 2010. How that stacks up with the GadsWeatherViz.com July forecast is I was going for ever so slightly above average, so wasn't right there. It actually comes out ever so slightly below average. I did say that I couldn't really see, despite that very hot start, I couldn't really see much sign of it being a notably hot month. So that was right. The models are sort of picked up on the idea that despite the very hot opening day, it wasn't going to be anything notable. So we got that correct, but maybe the extent of the cool, particularly in the last week or so, caught us by surprise. In terms of rainfall, we said that the month was likely to be a little bit drier than average. I think you have a lot of variation with the rainfall. Some places have been drier than average, some places have been a bit wetter than average as well. So it's always difficult, particularly at this time of year when you're talking about sort of showery bursts and thundery bursts, to pinpoint the exact rainfall. But I don't think it's been a notably wet month by any means, but certainly the temperature has been a little bit surprising what happened there in the last week to 10 days with that temperature crash. Right, let's go on and have a look at August, and this is the CFS V2 700 millibar height anomaly for August, and we see a fairly unsettled month being signalled here. We've got below average height sitting to the north and the west. We have got some ridging across central parts of Europe. I'm not sure how impactful that is for us. The jet stream is going through something like that, so it does imply a fairly unsettled month. Most unsettled conditions, as we've had throughout the summer in the north and the west, has been a very poor summer for Scotland, Northern Ireland, some parts of northwestern England. It's been a very cruel summer in some ways, because up in the north you've been constantly being hit by areas of low pressure and the jet stream, whereas in the south, despite that cooler and more unsettled final week to July, it actually hasn't been too bad for southern parts of the country. It's been fairly warm and fairly dry, so very strange and contrasting summer all round, and it looks like from this chart that continues really, with the most unsettled conditions in the north. The driest, warmest conditions on that setup would always be down in the south. Having said that, the model is seeing all parts of the country to get a cooler than average month, so a very strong signal there from CFS V2 that we should see a cooler than average August coming up. The rainfall anomaly, again, shows this idea that the north and the west is wetter than average, so Scotland, Ireland coming out wetter. You notice for northern parts of France and the Low Countries, it's drier. And then for southern parts of England, we're near normal with precipitation. So it's just got that dividing line there between drier conditions to the south, wetter conditions up to the north. I do think you're going to have another pretty grim month if you're up across Scotland, I have to say. It may not be too bad at times down across England and Wales. That's CFS V2. This is the Beijing Climate Centre. This is 500 millibar height anomaly chart for the first 10 days. This goes from the 1st to the 10th. Very similar to the CFS, with that trough out to the west of the country in the northwest, with the jet stream going like that. So most unsettled conditions in the northwest, driest conditions down in the south and the southeast. The next 10-day period is going from the 11th to the 20th. A little bit different with this one. The trough is more centred over the country and ever so slightly to the east. So that would bring us all into trouble, I think. Even in the south, you will be prone to some unsettled conditions with the jet stream going a bit like that. I think we're on the cool side of the jet there for those middle 10 days of August with the BCC. And then finally, excuse me, going through to the last 10 days of the month, this from the 21st to the 30th. The below average heights for low pressure is weakening and going off to the east. Actually, it's going in central parts of Europe. We may be raising the pressure a little bit in the Atlantic. So overall, that's probably turning drier as we go through to the final 10 days of August. Not sure it would necessarily be all that warm, because I think the airflow will still generally be from a northwesterly type direction, but probably turning drier for the final 10 days of August. But overall, a mixed and a changeable, rather cool August is the signal from the BCC. The 500 millibar high anomaly for the whole of the month looks like this, with a trough of low pressure more or less over the country, so you'll expect an unsettled month coming up. Temperature anomalies stack up like this, and it's a cooler than average signal here, significantly so actually. The scale is down here. If I just scroll up a little bit, the scale is on the right hand side of the chart as you're looking at it. So we're in most deep blue colours. That is an anomaly of around 2 to 3 degrees cooler than average, being signalled there for August. So quite a cool month, ending a cool summer, if that is right. It could be a bit over the top. The rainfall anomaly is coming out a bit wetter than average as well, particularly up to the north. So not a particularly inspiring August by any means, if you take these models at face value. I think they could be overdoing this a little bit. They could be a bit too pessimistic on our chance. So I do think we'll have a changeable month, and probably coming out wetter than average up in the north and the west. Maybe average to a little bit drier than average down in the south, southeast. The south could just about hang on, as it has through most of the summer, to fairly dry conditions. So a bit of a north-south split with the rainfall. The temperatures, it's difficult to say. I think probably going to come out close to average. Whether we're on the negative side of average or the positive side of average, I'm not sure. I think these models are probably a bit over the top with how cool it's going to be. What's happened probably is that they're factoring in that very cool end to July, say probably the coldest final 10 days to July since 1920. They probably factored that in, and they're going a bit over the top with the implications for August. I don't think it'll be quite as bad as that showing for August. I'll be surprised if it comes out colder than last August, for example, which was the coldest since 1993. I don't think we'll go to that sort of level this month. So I would say near normal temperatures, really, and whether that's on the positive or the negative side of normal, we'll have to wait and see, but I don't expect a great deviation from that. So wet in the north, could be fairly dry down in the south, and temperatures near normal, but certainly nothing exciting in terms of heat. I'm not seeing that at the moment. And then finally, having a look at September, the quick sneak peek for September. And this looks quite good. September, as we know, is always a month where you tend to get late summer weather. You tend to get the ridge building in and delivering the goods in terms of dry and warm weather. Of course, it's hard to get to the extreme heat that you can get in the middle of summer in September. But nevertheless, you can still get temperatures going into the 80s Fahrenheit quite often in September, and well, I don't know if we'll go that high on this chart, but certainly it implies high pressure building over Scandinavia, probably bringing the winds into an easterly direction, which will be warm in September, and pressure is weak down to the south, so that could be threatening the jet stream at times, perhaps. More particularly for southern areas, actually, and interestingly. So maybe the north gets the best of it in September, and the south sort of deteriorates a little bit. You're certainly overdue some decent weather up across Scotland, and maybe September will be the month that reverses things a bit and turns it more unsettled and cooler down in the south. We will worry about September when we get to it. Coming back to August, for GavsWeather.com, August month-ahead forecast is for a wetter than average month, again rounding off a very grim summer for the north. So Scotland, Northern Ireland, wetter than average, a little bit drier down in the south. Rain for temperature comes out near normal, could be on the negative side, could be just on the positive side of the average. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.